And good morning, and let's go live on whatever day of the week. This is, well, it's Friday. I know it's Friday. I don't even know what date of the week it is. I think it's Friday, September the 14th, I think. Let's go with that. I think we'll try that. And I'm coming to you live from my bedroom. Of course, a lot of people have read my posts in the last 2 days about the accident that I had with the kangaroo on my motorbike, and I just wanted to do a live stream about that and let you know how I'm going, and also wanted to let people know how much I appreciate all the messages privately and publicly, all the offers of help. Really appreciate it. So if you're not aware, what happened was I was coming home from Kayla's place on Wednesday afternoon. I'm not quite with it, as you may imagine, but I was coming home Wednesday evening. It was nighttime, and I was on my motorbike, and I'd got almost all the way home. I was literally a kilometre, maybe less. I was in the street before the street that I live in, so I was very close to home. And where I live is an acreage area, very quiet area. And I'm well aware, having lived in this area over 30 years, the number of times that I've seen animals killed or near misses from kangaroos, wallabies, possums, hares, turkeys, you name it, big rats, you name it. They like to run out across the road in front of vehicles. So when I ride the motorbike, I'm really cautious, and I go fairly slow. It's a 50 km/h speed limit here, and I certainly don't exceed that. And so I was very close to getting home to the house, and there are street lights, and also my motorbike has really good headlights. However, still, out of the darkness, out of bushes on the left-hand side of the road, a rather large reddish coloured kangaroo just basically came out of nowhere very rapidly. And these kangaroos can travel with quite a lot of speed too. On the same street that I ran into this kangaroo, only maybe a month or two earlier, I actually had a kangaroo running beside me, keeping pace with me at about 45 km/h. So these guys, they can move. And the faster I went, the faster this kangaroo went at that time. So anyway, so Wednesday night, this kangaroo came out of the bushes on the left. I sort of saw this blur coming out of the darkness, and put the brakes on as quick as I could. I was probably doing around 50 km/h at the time. I slowed the bike down as much as I could, and I hoped to avoid him, but the inevitable happened, and I ran straight into him with the front of the bike. He sort of connected a little bit as he was going across my path, sort of connected a little bit sideways and front on. And once he hit the bike, I tried to keep control, and as I was slowing down, but that was that was about it. It was just the bike went all wobbly and all wobbly, fell over to the left, started skidding along the ground, and my left foot was caught under the bike, between the bike and the road, basically. So I came to I stopped. By the time the bike stopped, the kangaroo was nowhere to be seen. It had gone. The bike was tipped on its left side with the light still on. And I was lying there going, ow. So it was pretty painful. And I just sort of lay there on the road and took my helmet off, because my head had hit the ground with the helmet. There's scratch marks on the helmet and all that. So I'd sort of my head had bounced off the ground, and my left leg was feeling pretty bad. So I took the helmet off, and I actually put it behind the bike. I sort of managed to sort of get it round behind me and worked out how to put the hazards on the bike. So it was, so if anyone came along the street, because it's a quiet area, but I didn't want somebody coming along and running over me. And even though I was off the side of the road. And within a couple of minutes, somebody came down one of their driveways and drove past. Didn't even stop. I'm like, seriously? I'm sitting here with a scooter on its side with the hazards on, and you know, somebody just gets in there, goes down past along the street in their car and doesn't even check or anything. So anyway, at this stage, after about 5 minutes, I started sort of dragging myself, trying to stand up, and I thought my left foot was fairly sore, but I thought it wasn't too bad. I thought, no, it can't be broken. It's pretty good. And a guy that pulled up in a van, and he asked if I was all right, and then they started helping, and we got the bike up, got it upright, and put it on the stand. And I had already called my PA who lives at my house, and she actually came down within a few minutes, and she came down in the car, and so I was able to I thought I'll just go back home and see how I feel, you know. So I went back home, and, you know, even just a short drive back home, I thought, wow, my foot is starting to hurt quite a bit. So basically went home and just said, look, I think I need to go to emergency. So we went straight down to emergency. They checked it out. They did a lot of x-rays, blah, blah, blah. And so I've got a fracture of the left foot, or left ankle, actually. It's fractured. It's fractured on one side, and there's possible tendon or ligament damage on the other side. So they gave me some endone because it was getting quite painful, and put me in a moon boot rather than a cast, which is good. I appreciate that, and so I went home, and that was on the Wednesday night. And I've got to say, yesterday, today's Friday, 2 days later, yesterday was not, that night and yesterday was not a lot of fun. Have been taking the codeine, was it protein forte, which is codeine. This stuff, I got to tell you, I've had this stuff before when I had my last accident. It stops you shitting. It literally stops you shitting. You cannot shit when you take this stuff. Don't know why, but you just become totally constipated. You cannot shit. So I had 4 of them yesterday morning, and I thought, I'm just going to not take any more and see how I go. So I haven't had any since yesterday morning. So that's pretty good pain control. And this morning I was actually able to go to the toilet and do a number 2. And I was like, oh, thank God. You know, it took a while to get the body working again, but, you know, that's good. So unless the pain returns really badly, I'm not going to take any more codeine, because that stuff just gums you right up. So Ruth says, "Good, not good news, Harry. Just tuning in. What happened to the kangaroo?" Ruth, I don't know what happened to the kangaroo because it was dark. By the time the bike had come to a standstill, you know, it was like my bike was on its side. I was, you know, lying beside it. The kangaroo had hopped off across the road, and that's the last I saw of it. I don't know if anyone else has seen it. You know, I didn't even know what condition the bike was in. In fact, after the accident, the only thing that happened was they took me to emergency, and then I was driven back home, and you know, the bike was just parked on the side of the road. I didn't even know how damaged it was. I just got on the phone yesterday, rang the insurance company and said, look, can you pick a bike up? And they said, oh, yeah, you know. So I just organised everything on the phone, said, look, the helmet's damaged, the gloves are damaged. They said, yeah, fine, we'll look after that. And they, without me even seeing the damage to the bike, they picked it up yesterday and took it to be repaired. And I got my PA to take some photos of it, so I can see now that it is, the fairing and all that's damaged on it. But I don't know what's happened to the kangaroo. I'd love to be able to go down and have a look, and, you know, in the bush around, but I wasn't able to leave the bedroom at all yesterday. I literally could go a couple of hops from the edge of the bed to the ensuite, and that was it. This morning I'm feeling better. The good thing is it's just a physical thing. It's not affecting me emotionally, which is great. And I wanted to draw a comparison between it and the accident I had 6 years ago. But I just want to say this morning I'm feeling better. I actually managed to shave, and I got borrowed a seat, special shower seat. So I was able to sit in the shower, hop in there, sit in the shower and have a shower. So that's good. And, you know, fresh jammies and sheets and all that. My PA put fresh sheets on and that. So thank God, you know, I've got someone here looking after me. She does an amazing job. So So yeah, that's better. And we improvised a wheelchair to get me out to the office, to my office in the house. So we used my office chair, and my PA pushed me out to there, and that's enabled me to scan some documents that needed to be scanned for the hospital and for the insurance, and do some emails and stuff like that. So my head's a bit woozy though still. What I wanted to just mention was, yeah, Ruth says, sounds like you were very fortunate. I think I was exceptionally fortunate. I'd have to say the design of the bike, because it's a largish scooter. You need a motorbike license to ride it, but the design of it is really quite good, and I'm really pleased that if I had to have an accident, that I had it on that bike, because it has very good fairings on it, and that protect your feet. And so even though it went down on its side, and it's got these big fairings that stick out the side of the bike, so it sort of gave me a fair amount of protection. Had it been a regular, what they call a naked motorbike, where you just have the pedals without any fairing around it, and I'd gone down on the side on that, I think that would have been really quite a lot worse. But having this bike, this particular type of bike with the big fairings, I posted some photos of the damage to it. I think that helped. So, and it does have really good what's called combined braking, where you pull one lever and both the front and rear brakes operate together. So I think that enabled it to pull up pretty quick as well. All in all, considering how far it skidded based on the skid marks on the road, I'm impressed how well this thing held up. It's a Honda. It held up really well. Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't be looking at replacing it with anything else other than what it is, but they'll be repairing it and giving it back to me in any case. So I wanted to, 6 years ago, I was in an accident where I broke my knee and my wrist, and that was exceptionally painful. Waiting for the ambulance to turn up, I nearly passed out. I was going into shock. It was an extremely emotional event around that accident and around the recovery of it. There was lots of changes happened in my life at that time, massive changes. And so there was a lot of emotion tied in with that event. That'll be 6 years ago in December that happened. The recovery took many months, 2 surgeries on the knee, having the knee wired back together because it was broken into 3 separate sections, and having the wrist put in a cast. In fact, I don't know how well you see it in the live stream, but there is the scar there from the surgery on the wrist. And, you know, I had no strength at that time 6 years ago. I couldn't do that. Had no strength there. My left leg was half the size of my right leg because the muscles hadn't been used. It took a lot to get walking in that again. It really did. But I'd have to say, now that I've just fractured the ankle, I'm feeling much more confident of getting, you know, back into things a lot quicker. Millie says, wow, you didn't have to be hospitalised. That's highly fortunate. Yeah. Hopefully the kangaroo is okay. Yeah. I thought they were going to hospitalise me actually this time around. Because they took a series of x-rays, took me out to the waiting room, and then said, we need to take more. We just need to check more stuff. So wheeled me back in, took more. But yeah, luckily it was all right. So where do we go from here? So basically, well, I'm on a forced holiday now for at least a few weeks. Have another check in a week's time with more x-rays to see how the fracture is setting in. And I've been told that it's in the right position to set back into place properly. And I've also been told not to put any weight on that foot and on that leg. So I've been hopping around, and I've been using, not the best thing, I've been using the walking, how do we get that in? Yeah, I've been using these walking sticks, but I actually have just found this morning, thanks to my mum and dad who came up and looked for me, have actually found the crutches that I had when I broke my knee. So that's good. I've got them now. There's a pair of them sitting there on the bed, so that's fortunate. So I'll be able to move around a bit with them. So it means I'm out of action as far as, you know, the vegan life, vegan like I was going to do tomorrow. I can't be there for that, of course. You know, the vegan hour, I'm not sure. I've cancelled postponed next week's one. So we'll see how I'm going a few weeks after that. So anyway, one other thing was that when I did have my accident 6 years ago, I healed relatively quickly, and I was told that my rate of healing was quite impressive by the physio, and I said, I said, well, that's because I'm vegan. I said, I expect to heal quickly, and the fact that this is the second day and I've not taken painkillers already, I'm feeling very, very confident that hopefully I can heal quickly with this fracture as well, and get back onto riding the bicycle. And the only thing is, I'm going to be extremely wary now riding the motorbike at night. Daytime, never had an issue, but at night. But having said that about never having an issue in daytime as far as animals, last week, believe it or not, in the actual street I live in, a kangaroo ran out in front of my PA as she was driving up to the house, and she actually ran over it and injured it badly, and we called Wildcare. And by the time Wildcare had arrived, sadly, this mother kangaroo had passed away, and the joey was left without a mother. And so that is very, very sad. That happened only a few hundred meters away from where my accident happened Wednesday night. So the kangaroos are very active. I've been told it's because it's dry, and they're hopping around because it's dry. I don't know why that makes them more active. Maybe they need to look for food more. Maybe they go further afield. But just be aware, if you're living in areas that have animals, that a lot of these animals that have wild animals that come out at night, nocturnal wild animals or native animals, that they often don't have a road sense. They're often confused or blinded by lights because of their nocturnal eyes, and they will sit literally on the side of the road until you get really close to them, and then just run out in front of you. I've seen hares do it. Hares are just notorious for doing it, and often have done this to me when I've come home at night and just sat there, not moving until I've got within about 20 feet of them, and then bang, they come straight out in front of me, and I'm hitting the skids, trying to stop or avoid them. So the hares are really bad. Kangaroos usually have a little bit more road sense, but I've also seen like big rats that just run across the road so fast that like you can hardly even see them. Ruth says, are you keeping your leg and foot elevated? That will help too. Yes, Ruth. Yeah, I have been. I had it on a pillow when I'm lying down. I have it up on a pillow. And Ruth says, be healthy and fit makes a huge difference for healing. Yes, it does. So I just wanted to do this live stream and let you guys know that I'm okay. I survived it. I'm a bit groggy, and I've just been, just resting and sleeping a lot, and just posting Facebook posts from time to time. So take care when you're out and about, especially if you're riding a motorbike or a bicycle. Even a bicycle, I mean, you can go pretty fast downhill on a bicycle, and you have to be really careful. And it was only in the last, maybe about 6 months ago, early this year, maybe late last year, that a guy was riding a bicycle in our area. He came down, I think, Tomawin Mountain Road. I think it was Tomawin Mountain Road. A scrub turkey came out in front of him, knocked him off the bicycle. He ended up in a coma, and he ended up passing away. He never recovered from that. So got to be careful coming down hills. And I've got to admit, I've done some crazy stuff coming down hills on bicycles. Literally 70 kilometers an hour I've got up to coming down Burley Hill, and I've got up to about 60 coming down Connection Road as well, around the Devil's Elbow. So yeah, that's living on the edge. Ruth says, we are causing the kangaroos a huge amount of problems through development, and this is forcing them into new territory and on the road verges. That is absolutely true, and that's happening with koalas too. And prayers for the Roo and cannabis pain relief for you, Harry. Thank you, Trish. There was talking about koalas. Just when I mentioned koalas, then one night I got to the intersection near where I lived. I pulled up, I pulled up at a stop sign, then turned left around the corner, and sitting in the middle of the lane on an 80-kilometer-an-hour road was a koala. I'm just like, what? What are you doing sitting here? Get off the road. And he slowly, moved off the road. I thought, wow, he was on a corner that where cars do 80 kilometers an hour, and he would not have been able to move out of the road of a car. They don't move that quick. So that was pretty freaky. And also there was actually one other story I'll finish with. few years ago, 3-4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I was coming home one night, late one night, on Connection Road, which is near where I live, and it was late. It was like midnight, and came around a bend, and I could see in the distance something on the road, something quite large. And as I got up close, it was an adult kangaroo, and one of the big, really, really massive, big adult kangaroos. I'm talking, these guys are super impressive. They've got muscles on them that they look like they've worked out. And he was standing on his hind legs, actually, impressive animal, just super tall. And he was standing in the middle of the lane, facing me, just standing there, staring me down. And I slowed down and I stopped. I was in the car at that time. I stopped and I was the only one around, and I just looked at him and I just had this conversation with him that he never heard. I just went, well, what are you going to do now, mate? And he just stared me down a bit more. And then he went, well, I think I'll just let you go past. And he sort of came down onto his front paws and then did the slow sort of shuffle that kangaroos do off the road. That is a guy that you would not want to run into or pick a fight with, because he would win every time, I think. So anyway, guys, that's it. I'll wind up now. So thanks for watching this live stream. Live vegan and save lives. And Harry will speak to you soon. See you guys.